Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your favorite queen, Queen of Modesty, coming at you live from Lagos, Nigeria. Today, the business of the day is, you know, um, Judge Floyd, and this is just an African's perspective, as the title of the video already suggests. And this is like an open letter to Africans in America who think they are African American. Um, just sorry to break it to you, but Americans don't see you as Americans. They see you as Africans in America. And until you guys just begin to see yourselves as African in Americans, in America, and you begin to treat yourself as an immigrant in somebody else's country. I feel like the earlier you begin to do that, the better for you. Because if you think under any given circumstances, Americans are going to accept you as an American, sweetie, you have another thing coming, because it's never going to happen. No matter how many protests you have, no matter how many marches you have, no matter how many Americans that come out to solidarize with you guys about how your ancestors, with the founding fathers, or they, broke their backs to build America. No matter how many times these white people come out to solidarize with you guys, you're still never going to be American to Americans. And the funny thing is, a lot of these white people have not really come out with their racist side, because, you know what I'm saying, it just hasn't, the time has not come. You feel me? Because the time is going to come when these white people solidarizing with you guys, their true colors are going to come out. And then you're going to see that they're just closeted white supremacists waiting for the right time to strike. They don't go through your struggles. They don't understand what you're going through. So no matter how many times the white people come and be like, oh, I solidarize. To be honest with you guys, I know that there are probably genuine people, genuine white people who truly solidarize with you guys, and who truly, understand your struggles, and who truly, want what's best for you. But I may be reaching here, but if I were to give it a percentage, I would probably say they're in the 5% range. They're not many. To be very honest, they're not many. I can promise you guys, they're not many. And I just find it so saddening, because when Africans are trying to reach out to you guys, y'all come up with this: we're not African, we were not born in Africa, we've never been to Africa, so our ancestors, we may be African by heritage, but we're not African. Sweetie, you're not American either. They don't accept you as American. They don't see you as American. They don't treat you like an American. You guys are they're literally hunting you guys down and killing y'all. Like y'all are some like shooting range, or like y'all are some, I don't even know how to describe what they see you guys as. But to these white people, you are more or less animals that they can just hunt down and kill whenever they feel like. And with the way things are going, it's beginning to look like they're prepping you guys to take you back to the days of slavery. I may be reaching with that mindset, but that's what it's looking like. If you go back to scripture, I'm a Christian, so hey now. If you go back to scripture and you read Exodus, and you see how Pharaoh was so scared because the children of Israel were multiplying, and they were becoming too great of a force. And Pharaoh was scared because, if these Israelites multiply, they may take over Egypt. And what came to the mind of Pharaoh? It was to hunt down every male child of the Israelites, of the Hebrews, and kill them. Because that is where the continuation of the Hebrew generation came from. If the Hebrews don't procreate, there will be no more Hebrews. That was the mind of Pharaoh. And that is what it's beginning to look like in these white people's minds. If these black people don't procreate, then there will be no more black people. So hunt down the man. That's the lifeline of the black man. That's the lifeline of the black race. That's the lifeline of the Negroid race in white America. So if we can cut off the lifeline of the Negroid race in white America, then we may be able to get black people under our control. Think. Now, I'm not saying they don't attack the women or anything like that. They may attack the women, but the black men are your protectors. The black men are your protection. They're the ones looking out for your generation. They're the ones protecting your kids. They're the ones protecting you as a woman. If they take away your protection and they take away your your longevity, you know, your life, what I say, your generational span, then you would have no choice but to depend on the white man for your existence. That's what it looks like they're heading towards. They keep going after your fathers. They keep going after the men who are going to create a future generation, create a continuation of the black race in America. Think. They quote unquote bastardize Africa to you guys. And y'all sit there on your high horses talking about, hey, I'm not African. Sweetie, these white men that are hunting down you people in their America, they move around freely in your Africa. There was no police brutality towards a white man in Africa, sweetie. They can go to any country in Africa whenever they feel like it, however they feel like it, and move around freely in any country in Africa. Your Africa. While they hunt you down and they kill y'all, they slaughter y'all like animals in their America. But they are walking, they can move around freely in your Africa. And you think you're smart? Talking about you're not African because you were not born in Africa, blah, blah, blah. Sweetie, you're not American either because they don't see you as American, period. John Boyega, he went on a rant. And somebody left a comment, and I saw some guy talking about John Boyega is not, Africans should stop calling him African. Nigerians should stop calling him Nigerian. He's not a Nigerian. He was born in Europe. He was born in England. Blah, blah, blah. Sweetie, if anything happens in Europe or in the West, John Boyega knows where in Africa he comes from. He can just pack up his bags and be like, you know what, I'm going to take a retreat to my Africa and go chill there. Heck, he knows where he's from in Africa. He's a Nigerian. The money he has made in Europe or America or wherever he's made his money is enough to get him a house in Nigeria. It's enough to start off a business for him in Nigeria. So if he decides he wants to move to Nigeria, he is perfectly fine. Now you who are trying to claim he is not African because he was not born in Africa, blah, blah, blah. You don't even know where in Africa you came from. Instead of you to take that energy and put it into researching about Africa, knowing more about your heritage, and instead of you to take that energy and use it to finding out where in Africa you would love to visit, to get to know more about your continent, instead of you to take that energy, instead of using it to talk about John Boyega is not African. Boyega, sweetie, is Nigerian. He can take Boyega to any Nigerian bank and he will cash out on it, boo. He is Nigerian. He has where in Africa he comes from. If he wants to return to Nigeria, he can peacefully. He got the money to. He got the resources to. Instead of you to take your energy and build up your bank account to see where in Africa you can pack your family to when America decides it wants to go crazy, or the West decides they want to go crazy on black people. Instead of you to take that energy and get your money up and figure out where in Africa you can run to with your family, you're sitting there using that energy to talk about how John Boyega is not blah, blah. Bro, your priorities are mixed up. You are as American as I am American. Okay? You are as American as I am an American. Just as I am looked at as an immigrant, you are seen as an immigrant who is encroaching on their space. And that's exactly how they treat you guys. So you need to wake up and smell the coffee. If you know what's good for you, start researching into Africa. There are so many countries in Africa you can decide to live in and you will fit into perfectly. Because everybody in Africa is as black as my black self, is as black as your black self. So you can go to any country in Africa and you will situate perfectly there. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Africa is perfect. But the beauty of Africa is, let me tell y'all something. We don't sit here waiting for people to give us hand-me-downs. We don't sit here waiting for the government to do something for us. We take matters into our own hands. We go create futures for ourselves. There are so many Africans who started in Africa and now they are global superstars. From Africa. They started in Africa. They are from Africa. They grew up in Africa. They started in Africa. They blew in Africa. And now they are superstars. They're international, global superstars from Africa. So y'all can sit down and talk about how you are not African because you did not grow up. You better wise up, boo. You better get to know your Africa. Because if you think your protests and your tweets and your video recordings are going to save you, they are not. If you think they're going to, for some reason, make you become more of an American, they are not. You would never be seen as American. Get that through your head. You were not an American. You were never an American to American people. You would never be an American to American people. Is Africa the safest place in the world to be in? No, it's not. Neither is America. Neither is America. Nowhere in the world is the safest place to be. There's crime everywhere. Everywhere has its perks. Let me use the word perks. Everywhere has its disadvantages. But if you think you're better than Africans because you're in America, boo, sweetie, you're not. You are not. Akon is building his own city and planning on having his own currency in Africa. You are there talking about Akon is not African because blah blah blah. John Boyega can decide I want to go to Nigeria. He can come into Nigeria whenever he feels like because he is Nigerian, boo. Born in Nigeria or not, bred in Nigeria or not. He's Nigerian. He can walk into Nigeria whenever he feels like it. And make a life for himself in Nigeria whenever he feels like it because he has made he's made that Western money. And if you convert Western money to Nigerian naira, man, he's gonna be cashing out, boo. He can buy himself a nice, comfortable house in Nigeria, and he can start himself a nice, comfortable job in Nigeria. Voila! Oh boy, has moved to his African descent, homeland. While you are there, stuck in a white man's land, talking about how you are not African. Wise up. Take that energy and research on your Africa. The white man will fly into your Africa and tell you how Africa is bad for you. Ha! Like these things, they baffle me. I am lost for words. I don't even know how to articulate myself right now because I'm just like, are you for real? Are you kidding me right now? You think the wise thing for you to do is distance yourself from Africa? That's how Americans are going to accept you? They are never going to accept you. Let me just make it clear to you right now. Get that through your head. You are not American. You would never be American. You are an African in America. And that is forever what you are going to be to these white people. Believe it or not. And the earlier you start believing it, the better for your existence. Okay? The better for you. So take that energy that you're trying to use to protest, to march every other single day, and start, you know what? Start researching into Africa. They say Africa is this. Well, I'm gonna go see that for myself. The white man will come into Africa and tell you about your Africa, and you believe what they say? Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. Because it makes no sense for a white man to tell you about your homeland. Instead of using money to go for, Ariana Grande concerts, how about you take that money and take a trip to Africa and know your heritage, sir? You talk about how you're scared for your kids because they can't walk the streets, this and this and this. Well, how about you take that energy and look for how you can get your kids acquainted to where they came from. Book a flight to Africa, fly to Nigeria, fly to Tanzania, fly to Kenya, fly to Zimbabwe, fly to Namibia, fly to Ghana. There's so many places in Africa you can fly to, so many countries you can fit into perfectly, because we are all black over here. Do you know how many of these white people that are slaughtering you guys like animals over there have businesses they've set up in Africa? They come to your Africa to exploit the beauty of your fatherland while they trap you in their country, slaughtering y'all like animals, and you sit there on your high horse thinking you're better than Africans because you were born in America and you were not an African because I was not born in Africa. You're not smart, bro. White people are laughing at you. They're coming into your Africa, walking around freely, starting businesses in your Africa, and you think you're smart, talking about how you're not African. You think distancing yourself from Africa is going to make you American? Or it's going to make Americans, accept you as their own? It is not, boo-boo. Don't play yourself. You are an American as much as I am an American. You are not an American. That's point blank period what I'm trying to let you know. You are never going to be an American. Make it easy on your sons. Instead of taking trips to Turks and Caicos and going to the Bahamas and the Caribbean and this and this and this, plan trips to Africa to know where you came from, boo-boo. Plan trips to Africa. Come and know where you came from. Come and know your heritage. That's what you should be doing. Not talking about how you are not African. You are African, whether you want to accept it or not. Now, whether you want to accept it or not, it's not on us. It's on you. You accepting to be African is not for my own good. It's for your own good. It's for your own good. It's not for my own good. The earlier you accept that you're African, the better for you. It's for your own good. Get to know Africa. Give Africa a try. That is your homeland. That is where you came from. That is who they see you as. Not an American. As a full-blown African. So it will be wise for you to get to know your Africa. Instead of trapping yourself in a white man's country or in a white man's land. All they talk about is the negatives of Africa. They make you think there's nothing good that Africa has to offer you. They're lying to you, bro. I've been in Nigeria for 26 plus years of my life. I have never traveled out of my country. Not because I can't, because I have never had a reason to. So those people telling you Nigeria is so bad, like people have to cross the border illegally and go through slavery in Liberia because they're lying to you, bro. Those people made a choice to do that. Not because Nigeria is bad or because you cannot make it in Nigeria. Those are big fat lies. Your white media is not going to tell you good things about Africa because they need you to be trapped there. You are their punching bag. You are their source of relevance. If there is no white on black crime, who are they going to bully? If there is no black man to bully, how are they going to feel complete? Who are they going to wield their authority over? They need you there. for fun. And unfortunately, it's a very sickening kind of fun because it involves killing you people. So getting to know Africa for yourself is for your own good. Instead of white media telling you what your Africa is all about, how about you come see for yourself? And like I said before, the people who chose to leave Africa thinking, a white man's country is better for them, they made a choice. There are people who are making it from Africa, in Africa. There are people who are now on the global stage. They started from Africa. They started in Africa. They still reside in Africa. They don't live outside Africa, even after their global exposure. So think. The good things that happen in Africa, white media is not going to cover it. They're not going to tell you about the good things happening in Africa. They would not tell you because it's not beneficial to them. It doesn't suit the narrative of Africa is a no-go area. It doesn't suit that narrative. An engineering student in Nigeria made a ventilator. A whole ventilator. A whole ventilator. Did it ever make it to CNN? No, it did not. Did it ever make it to, CBS or all these news media outlets in America? It did not, because it's not good for their narrative. That nothing good can come out of Africa. They lied to you, bro. Come to Africa and find out for yourself. And stop letting white people tell you about your continent, about where you came from. Sirs and Mars. You want to talk about, well, why are Nigerians hustling to make it, to get into America, blah, blah, blah. Like I said before, it's a choice. It's not because Nigeria is not good or you can't make it in Nigeria. They chose to leave Nigeria. There are people every single day making it to the global stage from Nigeria. So don't let nobody tell you a pack a load of lies talking about how, oh, if you're not in a white man's country, you can't make it. Those are lies. Big fat lies. And mind you, the Nigerians are trying to talk about, they're risking it all, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, honey, they have a home. It is called Nigeria. If things don't work out in America, they have where to come back to in Nigeria. Let's take, for instance, this coronavirus situation. When coronavirus became overwhelming in the white man's country, what did Nigerians do? They decided to reach out to the Nigerian government like, yo, we want to come home. They have an out. You, my friends, talking about how I'm not African. I would never be African because I was not born in Africa. I am not from African. Blah blah blah. I'm only African by heritage. You're not smart, boo. These Nigerians, all they need to do was hop on the flight and come back home. I hear coronavirus is ravaging black communities. Y'all ain't got nowhere to go to. Nigerians have hopped on the flight back to their Nigeria. They got somewhere to go to. They have an out. You don't. So wise up and get to know your Africa so you also can have an out. When white people decide they feel like slaughtering your entire generation, you can tell them, not on my watch. I'm finna go to my Africa and go chill there. Because you will not be slaughtering my generation on my watch. We're wiser now. So the long story short of this video is, number one, dear Africans in America, you are not American. You will never be American. That's the first thing you need to realize. Number two, instead of wasting your energy distancing yourself from Africa, talking about how or thinking you're better than Africans, how about you use that energy to get to know Africa? Instead of wasting your money to buy Jordans and wasting your money to go for Ariana Grande concerts and go for Jonas Brothers concerts, how about you take that money and take a trip to Africa to know where you came from? To have an out when white people are sick and tired of you guys and they feel like, you know what? It's only a matter of time. Joe Biden showed a tint of his true colors when he said, well, if you don't vote Joe Biden, you're not what is it? Did he say you're not black? You're not black. They're about to be telling you guys how to live. They must be telling you guys how to even vote, how to even cast your votes. Wake up. You think not claiming Africa does anything to us Africans? I told you, I've been 26 plus years in Nigeria. I've not seen a reason to leave Nigeria. So don't be deceived by white media telling you Africa is bad for you. They're telling you that's so you can remain trapped in their country, so they can use you however they feel like it. America was built on the backs of foreigners. We all know Americans can be quite lazy. If you leave America in the hands of Americans, in a matter of months, they will deteriorate to one of these countries that like only make it to the news once in an orange sun. That is how irrelevant that's how irrelevant America will become if you take all the foreigners out of their country. They are thriving off of foreigners' sweat, off of foreigners, desire to be something in life. That's why America is thriving. You think America is thriving over America because Americans are working hard? Americans are waiting for the government to do everything for them? No. They are thriving because people who have decided to defy the government and say, you know what, I'm not going to wait for the government to be somebody in life. I'm going to be somebody in life regardless of whatever government has to do or not. Africans don't rely on their government. We don't. We may come on social media complaining about how our government doesn't do that or how our government does not do that. Let me tell you something. The average African, the average Nigerian complaining about their government on social media is walking his butt off behind the scenes to be somebody. Don't play yourself. Don't think they're sitting on their behinds waiting for the government to do something for them. No, they're not. They're working behind the scenes. They will come on social media and tweet one or two things for likes and retweets, but I can promise you, they're not sitting on their behinds waiting for the government to do anything for them. They're making it happen for themselves. And it's because of foreigners, it's because of immigrants like that America is thriving. Because of immigrants who have made it their duty to be somebody regardless of whether their governments want to, cooperate with them or not. That's why America is thriving. So if you know what's good for you, get to know your Africa. Stop distancing yourself from Africans because you're not, let me tell you, accepting it to be an African, you're not doing us favors. We don't need your acceptance. We don't care about your acceptance. We're good. We know our Africa. We know how to move in our Africa. I'm not saying Africa is perfect, but if you know how to move, you're going to be fine in Africa. Perfectly fine in Africa if you know how to move. Period. That's all I got to say. Africa may not be perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say Africa is perfect. It's not perfect, but we're making it work. We didn't have to look over our shoulders and be like, you know what I'm saying? Is the popo coming to kill them? Is there police brutality in Africa? There is. Heck, there's police brutality everywhere. Like I said, know how to move. However, in America, even if you know how to move, they come looking for you. So it's not even about knowing how to move. You can't even breathe. And like I earlier said in this video, it's looking like they're prepping you guys for a new kind of slavery. And y'all can't even see it. Instead, y'all taking your energy talking about how you're not African, this and this and this. You know what? It's left to you to decide whether you want to have a now or you want to be stuck in a white man's land. But let me tell you something. The Africans you're talking about that are coming to America, that are risking their lives and blah, 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 they have a now. They can hop on the next flight and be back to their Africa. And I'm going to keep quoting, I'm going to keep using coronavirus as an example. All the Nigerians that ran to America, ran to London, running all over the place, go ask the Nigerian government. They reached out to them like, yo, we want to come home. Because they got home. They still know they have a home. They have where to run to. Y'all ain't got nowhere to run to. And you're allowing yourself to be stuck in a white man's land by listening to white media about your Africa. Wise up. That's all I got to say to you guys. The answer, the solution to your problem, the solution to George Floyd situations is not protests. It's not petitions. It's taking a stand and saying, you know what? You can keep your America. I'm going to go find out what's good in Africa. I'm going to let you know you don't have power over my existence. I'm going to take my existence into my own hands. But if you think protesting is gonna protesting and distancing yourself from Africa is gonna make you somehow an American, sorry, bro, it's not. It's not going to. And the earlier you realize that, the better for you. That's all I gotta say. We in Africa, we're here for you. Whenever you feel like you want to reach out to us, or whenever you feel like you want to identify as African, we're here. We're not going to chase you away. White people are thriving in your Africa. They're setting up businesses. They're making money in your Africa while you're there. While they trap you in their America, telling you there's nothing good that can come out of your Africa. They're in Africa making money. So all I gotta say, wise up. And that would be it, guys, for this video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys do think, on everything that I've said in this video. And I do hope you make a conscious effort to know your Africa and stop letting white media tell you about an Africa that they are profiting off of under your noses. Come to your Africa. Come to your Africa. Come and explore your Africa. Come and set up shop in Africa. That's where you belong. That is who you are. That is where you came from. And stop killing yourselves and wasting your energy trying to be a part of a country that would never see you as their own. Wise up. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My condolences to the George Floyd family and the many other families who have gone through police brutality. I just do hope you guys wake up and just realize it's not worth it. America is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your blood. It's not worth your stress. It's not worth it. See you in my next video. Bye, guys.